a GREENPOINT Williamsburg Public Affairs presentation. This is Neighborhoods Today.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Neighborhoods Today. I'm REENA PELC. You know, most of us probably don't give much thought to crime prevention or crime safety. That is, of course, unless we happen to become a victim of crime. Well, today's interview is going to focus on those issues, crime prevention and crime awareness, and some of the things we might be able to do to hopefully prevent ourselves from becoming a victim. We need to break for a short public service announcement, but when we come back, we're going to have that interview. Stay with us.
Crime happens, but where it happens and who becomes the victim can be influenced by you and your community. As the eyes and ears of their neighborhoods, Block Watch programs assist police by reporting suspicious activity.
I'm witnessing a theft from a vehicle.
To learn more about crime prevention in your neighborhood, contact your local police department or the Block Watch Society of BC.
I'm in the studio today with Officer Larry Nunziato. I want to say welcome to Neighborhoods Today, Larry.
It's a pleasure to be here, REENA.
It's great to have you here. I know you have a really crazy busy schedule, so we're really excited about having you here. You're going to help us understand a little bit more about crime prevention and crime awareness, and that's what you're going to be talking about. And I thought maybe how we could start out would really be to have you talk about, is there really a difference when someone talks about crime prevention or crime awareness?
Is there a difference? Crime prevention, yeah, it's being aware. It's you know, basically there is no difference. To prevent crime, you'd have to be an aware person, and there are methods and ways that we study various things, various ways of preventing crime and making people more aware of these methods.
Okay. Well, as a crime prevention officer, what do you do? Because I and a whole lot of other people don't even know what a crime prevention officer does.
Yeah, that's a good question, REENA. Basically, what we do as crime prevention officers is we study crime patterns in the police department. We study trends in crime. We study how crimes take place, who's the victim of crimes, and we also study, and the police department trains us, especially in the field of the security industry and what's available out there and what are the different methods and we combine all of these statistics together and we search for ways of preventing various crimes from happening based on patterns and things like that. They come up with different programs or different tips for the people out there to keep crimes from happening to them. And basically it's done by studying the crimes that happened already.
Okay, so it's, I guess, taking a look at what has already happened in the past as a means of analyzing and then making changes.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we do. We study what happened in the past, and we come up, we combine fields out there, whether it be the security industry, locking devices. We study ways criminals can break a door or how criminals can circumvent certain locks, and then we come up with ways to prevent this. Basically what we do is we study each and every crime. Like if a burglary takes place, I'll go to the location of that burglary, and I'll do a survey of the premise. Mm-hmm. And basically the survey is to turn around and make a person that was the victim of a crime aware of how this crime took place. Secondly, what I'll do is, the second advantage of this is it shows me like, hey, this is how this person did this, and now I can turn around and bring this to a security industry and search the field to see if there's something that we can do to prevent this, and I can make that person more aware.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and well, that's what we're talking about, awareness.
Yeah. Correct, yeah.
Okay. I want to start to focus on some specifics and segue into overall community safety. Are there any kind of neighborhood watch groups that patrol the Greenpoint neighborhood and work in conjunction with the 94th?
Yes, there are. There are several block associations. There are neighborhood patrols, not only in the 94th precinct, but throughout the city of New York. The police department strongly recommends community activity in block associations and as well as neighborhood patrols informing these things. The city of New York, the police department encourages that, and they would give any type of assistance to anyone that would like to form block associations or community patrols. They do have programs like that, and all people would have to do is contact their local police station, and that the information would be available to them.
Well, let's say I really didn't have the time or really didn't want to join a neighborhood watch group. Would there be anything that I could do as an individual to kind of help keep an eye on my block? Anything that you could suggest?
Well, yeah, they have these block watcher programs, and basically what it is you don't have to put any time in. It's just what you do is you'll get a block watcher number if you register with the police department. And what happens is if you see anything going on that's suspicious on your block, you can turn around and telephone this into the police station, and it'll be an anonymous telephone call. It'll all be done based on your block watcher code, as opposed to a lot of times people are reluctant to turn around and report things that are happening. You know, whether it's something simple or they don't want to get involved. You understand? And what this does is this makes this totally anonymous. It's between you and the police station. You're registered, and basically you're registered under a number that only the police department knows, and you can report any crimes, and it's totally anonymous. There's no way for anyone to get this information.
Is that a cue to a police officer then that that this person that's calling is probably calling and it's legitimate?
Yes.
Not just wasting your time.
Right. It's I guess you register into this block watcher program, and not everybody does it. Usually it's the concerned citizens that get involved in these type of programs, and yeah, that would definitely alert me as a police officer to say, hey, the person I'm speaking to is definitely concerned enough about their neighborhood to turn around and make this phone call. So it's something that I would definitely think that the police department would take an active investigation on.
Okay, so then having a nosy neighbor can be a good thing.
Oh, correct, yes.
Well, what about if I'm going to be traveling? I know I'm going to be away for a week or 2 weeks or on assignment somewhere. Is it wise for me to approach a neighbor that I know very well and ask them to keep an eye on my place?
Oh yeah, it's I can't emphasize enough the importance of being involved in the neighborhood and being a good neighbor or having good neighbors and fostering these friendships. Because yes, it does. If your neighbor knows that you're away and you can trust that person, yeah, I'm sure that they'll turn around and watch out for your property. They'll watch out for your premise. If you leave them so in charge. If they see anything suspicious, they'll call. Maybe you got to hope that the person living next to you is someone you can trust.
Right. Now, again, I need to take responsibility for my property as well. Obviously, if I know I'm going to be away for a prolonged period of time, what precautions should I take in order to safeguard my house? Do I need to leave the light on, or what do I need to do?
Yeah, that's a good question, Reena. Basically, it varies from everyone's home because everyone's home is different. But there are some things that you can do to make yourself less likely of a target.
Well, let's say I have a home, not an apartment, but let's talk about a home first. I have a house, and I have a front yard, and I have a backyard.
Okay. What it's like is criminals, they're opportunists, and they look for opportunities to commit these crimes. So let's just say they get a tip that you are going to be away. Hey, it raises the target level. In other words, your house is more prone to be, it's more vulnerable to a criminal. Hey, he looks for opportunities. And what happens is you want to turn around and take whatever precautionary measure you can possibly take to turn around and lessen the target. Okay? So there are psychological deterrents that you can use. For instance, if you leave your house, you could leave a radio on, you could leave a TV on. I can't emphasize enough the importance of leaving lighting on somehow or another, and they've done statistical studies, they've done psychological studies on this. Security lighting, or lighting in general, because a light is a security device, basically it's a psychological deterrent for the criminal, and somehow or another they see the light and they shun the light. It's like most of these criminals perform their deeds in the darkness, like they're creatures of the darkness, and therefore when you illuminate a light, it's like a psychological deterrent almost. And so it's very important that you leave lighting on, you leave a radio on, a television. It's very important that you put the proper security devices on your door. These criminals practically get a jailhouse degree in locksmithing and alarm systems. I mean, A lot of times these criminals are recidivists. They've been in prison before. They had nothing but time to study these various fields. And it's important to have the proper stuff because if they see that they know it's something that's good, it's good quality, it's the proper locking device, it has the proper features, they're going to avoid, they'll move on to an easier target. Like I said, they're opportunists. They look for the easiest opportunity to strike.
So then basically you want to make it difficult for them. You don't want to make it easy for them. And you want to set your home up in such a way where you can have some kind of timer set so that a light goes off.
Correct.
Light goes on at a certain time, or a radio goes on, or a television set goes on.
Correct. And we recommend that you vary this at various times of the day. Vary your schedule. Don't make yourself so... create an illusion that you're omnipresent. Create an illusion that you are present, like you're there. It's just an illusion that you have to create. We recommend stickers on doors. We recommend...
what, as in terms of this house is patrolled?
Or this house is alarmed, or these all act as psychological deterrents. We strongly recommend alarm systems. Like I said, the police department offers several programs. One being the survey program, where you can contact the crime prevention officer of your local precinct, and what that person will do is they'll actually come to your particular house. And like I said, we're specialists in the field of security devices, and we're specialists in that field. And what we'll do is we'll turn around and survey your particular premise, and we can give you tailored recommendations that we feel would benefit you, and based on the experience that we have studying the security industry as well as the crime patterns and statistics.
So you're talking about individual site surveys, so to speak.
Exactly.
You'll come to my house or my apartment or my friend's house or my parents' house and say, okay, look, Mr. and Mrs. Peltz, this is what you're not doing right. This is what we think you need to do in order to prevent yourself from becoming a victim. That's
correct, Reena. What we'll do is it's called a survey, a security survey, and unfortunately, what we do is most people don't take advantage of this service. They take advantage of this service after they've been burglarized. Okay, and then I can tell you countless times I've been to numerous locations where I've seen that something they could have did prevented this.
Well, hopefully one of the things we can do with this interview is let people know that this is available. I mean, someone can call the 94th precinct and say, I'd like to talk to your crime prevention officer or whomever it is I might need to speak with, and can I have a site survey?
Correct, and it'd be my pleasure to come and give anybody a tailored survey based on my experience. That's just one program we offer that most people don't know about, and that's surveys. Another is Operation Identification. This is a program where the police department will lend you an etching device, which is a tool that transcribes into metal or plastic or whatever it may be. And what we'll do is we'll lend you this device to mark your social security number with the precinct and a serial number on top of your valuables. For instance, your television, your VCR, your camcorder, whatever valuables you have in your premise. Okay, then what you'll do is you'll provide the police department with a list of these valuables and those serial numbers. And we'll also provide you with stickers that say you've joined Operation Identification. Therefore, what it does is, once again, creates the illusion for the criminal. Like, hey, why do I want their property? It's easily identifiable. I'll just go to somebody that isn't involved in this program.
Right. Someone is tracking this equipment.
Right. In other words, at one point, it tells them that the person is conscientious enough to safeguard their stuff. They're conscientious enough to look for methods of safeguarding their stuff. It tells them that. It also tells them that, hey, this property is really of no value to me. If I'm caught with this property, there's no way I can say it's mine. It has these etching numbers in it. So they're more reluctant to turn around and want this in their possession. Like if somebody steals your radio, they're less likely to keep it. They're going to sell it. And anybody that's caught in that position, it's traceable back to you. So if a police officer gets this property in their possession, we need only look at the files to find out who owns this property now. It's some way of you personalizing your personal property.
And again, as you said, it's just another way to make it difficult.
Right. And it's another thing that the police department offers to people that a lot of people just aren't aware of, and they don't avail themselves of the opportunity of these programs.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll be able to start to bring some of this to the forefront as we go on here. Another scenario I want to talk about, which is something that's been in the news more and more lately. I'm home, someone comes to my door, says he's someone from Con Ed, from some other kind of repair person, might even say he's a police officer.
Yes.
How do I know?
Yeah, that's a very dangerous situation because somehow or another, today you would like to think that you can have trust in the public service, but unfortunately today there are a lot of con games like that where they'll come and they'll say there's some utility worker. The way you can prevent that, and I can't strongly emphasize this enough, is to challenge everyone that comes to your door.
Which is something, I would do anyway, right?
Yes, well, that's something I would do,
Right.
knowing what I know, and I can only strongly recommend to anyone out there that you challenge anyone, whether it's Con Edison, whether it's the telephone company, any new face that you see coming to your door has to provide you with an identification. Everyone has it, and if they don't want to provide you with a picture identification, then you don't let them in your house.
A picture ID.
That's correct. You do not let these people in to read meters, to read whatever utility it may be. Also, the utility companies provide, like for instance, I know they put meters on the outside of your premise. I
Right.
strongly recommend people look into that. If you're a homeowner, look into calling your utility company, whether it be the electric company or whether it be the water company. They have these little electronic devices that hook up to your meter that post on the outside of your home, and you don't have to let these utility people in. They can read the meter right from outside your home. I believe that a lot of these utility companies offer this, and you can put yourself on a list with these companies to have this installed in your home. And I strongly recommend that. It lessens the likelihood of somebody having to gain entrance into your house.
Right. I mean, I would also think it would be very, very important to let people know, especially senior citizens, keep your door locked. Do not open the door. Talk through the door. Am I right?
Correct. That's correct. Do not ever open the door. A lot of times these senior citizens, what they do is they have these chain locks that, and they open the door a little bit. No, those locks are not good, adequate security. We recommend a 190-degree door view is where they can look out and they can speak through the door. You never open up your door to no one. That's correct, Reena.
Okay. Well, then, kind of segueing into personal safety, I want to talk about personal safety because obviously it's a very important issue. If I'm alone and I'm walking home alone at night and it's late and it's dark and I'm starting to get a feeling, because I think one of the things we need to learn is to go with our instinct. If something doesn't feel right, something probably isn't right. And if I start to feel as I'm walking home alone, late at night, it's dark, as if I'm being stalked or someone is following me, especially a motorist, someone in a car, what would you suggest?
Okay. There are various things you can do in situations like that. Once again, Reena, I'm going to go back to being active in the community with these block associations, because if you're active with a block association, what these do is they work in conjunction with police stations, and they come to council meetings and whatnot with the police station. And basically what we have is programs called a map of corridors, and the police, and what these people can do is by being active in these block associations, they can actually find out which locations in the precinct are more high priority posts for police officers to be posted at. And what they can do is they can map out a route. Even if they have to walk a block or two out of the way, map a route where they know that, hey, a police officer is most likely going to be in this particular location.
Oh, so you're saying that oftentimes what happens is there will be officers walking a certain beat down specific blocks
That's
at
correct,
specific
Reena.
times?
Exactly. And by being active in these groups, you can find out exactly what's a high priority area for police officers, and you can tailor your route to accommodate you in that way. Another thing is good, strong recommendation is walk in well-lit areas. Like I said, if you have to walk a block or two out of your way to travel a main roadway, as opposed to traveling down a side street, limit at nighttime your travel down side streets. Strongly recommend traveling in groups, pairs. Like you said, they're opportunists, and if you're traveling alone and you're elderly, hey, you are a target.
Right.
Harden the target. 2, 3, it's a psychological deterrent. But getting back to your question about if you feel uneasy, if you're a target and you feel uneasy and you feel that you're going to be the victim of a crime, it pays. Do something sporadic, do something crazy. Start talking to yourself. Look up at the window and start waving at a window. Anything crazy, anything to make this person think. I recommend carrying a flashlight. If you see and you feel suspicious, go into a gate and look with a flashlight. They'll think you live there. You understand? They'll think you're comfortable with the block. Go up to the nearest door. Ring the doorbells. I strongly recommend traveling against. If you're walking, walk against the traffic, especially if you have to go down a side street. Walk against the traffic. Map out your corridor beforehand. You talk about awareness, be aware. If you know I go to bingo on such and such date, take the time one night, sit down, map out the best route for you to take, where you'll be the least target. There are a couple of factors. Lighting is one. What's your one-way streets? What's the busiest streets? What's the streets that are traveled by buses? Pizzerias are open.
Places that
cafes are open late. Get involved with the neighborhood. Know what stores are open. Travel down those roads. Be friendly. Say hello to the store owner. Little social interchanges like that. These people will remember you. Okay, know the stores in your area. It takes minimal amount of effort and time to sit down and map out a corridor for yourself. Call the local police station. They can call me, the crime prevention officer. They can call the crime prevention officer of any other police station. There are opportunities, there are ways we can help them to map out these corridors. I can tell them what are the best routes, you know, or the least likely crime patterns in a particular area. You know, this is, we offer this to the people, without a doubt.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a really important thing to know, especially if you know you have a tendency, whether it's because of your job or whatever, that you have a tendency to get in late at night, and you know that you are going to be walking down the street by yourself.
Yeah. It's back to what you said, Reena, awareness. Awareness. A lot of times we live in this, our brains are just idling, and with that idle time, we tend to lose awareness. We tend to be thinking about the future or the past, and we're not living right now in the moment.
Well, we're so preoccupied with just
Exactly.
whatever it is that's going on in our lives, the situations that we're in the middle of, or what happened today, or what's going to be happening tomorrow, that oftentimes I find myself
doing it.
Also,
and
yeah,
myself.
I have 5 things on my mind at the same time.
It's best when you're traveling at nighttime and you're an elderly, be aware, be conscientious. Think, look at the next car, be prepared, be alert, be in the moment. That's all I can say, because then you can be better prepared. Map out these corridors, follow these corridors. It's little habits that you can do that make you less likely of a target, and that's what we want to do. We want to turn around and make ourselves a less likely target by the basic little habits that we incorporate, whether it's walking a block out of the way to go down a well-lit street. Any little thing you do can make you less likely of a target.
Let's stay focused on the elderly and senior citizens. Going to the bank, a lot of senior citizens, I think, still have the tendency to not deal with direct deposit, but get their monthly check or Social Security check, whatever it might be, and go to the bank. It's very easy for someone to notice a senior citizen, and it's the beginning of the month or the end of the month, and they have that check. Would you recommend that senior citizens really get involved in direct deposit, or is there something else that you would suggest?
It's funny that you mentioned that, Reena. I guess even myself, I haven't kept up with the technologies today with this direct deposit. But yeah, I would. I think it's a great concept. I think it's a great idea. You know, like I said, I'm not actively involved myself, but I believe in the concept, and I believe in mapping out a corridor for yourself also, with regards to going to banks as well as bingo or late at night. I guess in my opinion, the direct deposit is a positive way of you getting your money into the bank.
Would you know offhand if that's some kind of a service that the police department would help senior citizens out, or the bank? Are you aware of anything like that?
With regard to direct deposits?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that they can call up wherever their pension company is, or they can call their bank, and yes, the banks will help them. The police department will help them with the aspect of route to and from the bank, and like I said, personalizing, you know, like teaching people about the awareness aspect of crime. But as far as the banking aspect, I guess they would have to contact their bank, their local bank, and yes, I know it's afforded in most banks, this direct deposit, and it'd be a very positive thing for them.
Okay, that's great. Hard to believe, but we're almost out of time here.
Really?
We're really going to need to wrap up. You have given us so much to thought about, and I know we probably could talk at least for another hour. At least I know I could. In parting, I was just wondering if there are any final words or comments that you'd like to make in terms of crime prevention and crime awareness.
I just thank you very much for inviting me here today, Reena. I had a great. It was my pleasure to do this, and I hope some of the information that was helpful to you and the people out there.
That's it, Larry, we're out of time. Thank you so much
Reena.
for joining me. It's been great, and maybe we'll have you back again.
Yes, I hope so. I really do.
That's it for this edition of Neighborhoods Today. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next time.